Okay, so at first I was like, I'm not gonna do this video, but then a part of me was like, nope, do the video. So I'm here reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, okay, by Dale Carnegie. Okay, now this version is it has been revised. Okay, so I don't know if you would still say this is by Dale Carnegie. All right, wait. Editorial consultant Dorothy Carnegie. Okay, editorial assistant, author, or pal, PH doctor. Okay, so oh my goodness. If you I'm only on page 15. This book is so good. Okay, it talks about like criticizing people and stuff like that. And one of the quotes that I absolutely love is what Confucius said, which was, "Don't complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof," said Confucius, "when your own doorstep is unclean." When I read that part, let me highlight that part because that really was good. Okay, let me say it again. All right. Let me just read this part. Do you know someone you would like to change and regulate and improve? Okay, good. That is fine. I'm all in favor of it. But why not begin on yourself from a purely selfish standpoint? That is not That is, honey, I gotta keep my hands on the thing so I can remember where I left off at. That is a lot more profitable than trying to improve others. Yes, and a lot less dangerous. Don't complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof, said Confucius, when your own doorstep is unclean. That part. And I was here, like, I started getting teary eyed. Because I started thinking about like my children, right? One of the things that I noticed, and I tell you guys a lot, about awareness, right? But one of the things that I notice is whenever I feel uncomfortable, right, or I feel um, maybe like a lot of pressure, right? I start yelling, right? Like I start yelling. Um and I remember when I was a kid, one of the things that I would do was me and my sister, right, that I'm so close to. Well, I remember when I was a kid, I would like throw her under the bus, right? So to speak. If you guys don't know what throw under the bus, now I didn't literally throw her under the bus, but I would say stuff that would sort of like, if I felt uncomfortable around people, or if I wanted to like show off because I was like insecure, I would sort of throw my sister under the bus. Like, instead of people paying attention to me, I would want them to like focus on her and her flaws and stuff like that. And I remember one day, like I had to apologize to my sister because I felt so bad. And even though, as a kid, I did this, but I just felt so bad. And so as I'm reading, right, one of the things it talks about is a father regrets. And it says, "Listen, son, I'm saying this as you lie asleep. One little paw crumpled under your cheek, and a blonde curl stickily wet on your damp forehead." Okay. Um, I have stolen into your room alone just a few minutes ago as I sat reading my paper in the library. A stifling wave of remorse swept over me. I came to your bedside. There are the things I was thinking, son. I had been cross to you. I scolded you as you were dressing for school. because you gave your face merely a dab with a towel. I took you to task for not cleaning your shoes. I called out angrily, when you threw some of your things on the floor. At breakfast, I felt guilt, too. You spilled things. You gulped down your food. You put your elbows on the table. You spread butter too thick on your bread. As soon and as you started off to play, and I made for my train, and I made for my train, or maybe they meant late for my train. And I made for my train, you turned and waved a hand and called, "Goodbye, Daddy." And I frowned and said in reply, "Hold your shoulders back." Then it began all over again in the late afternoon. As I came up the road, I spied you down on your knees, playing marbles. There were holes in your stockings. I humiliated you before your boyfriends by marching you ahead of me to the house. Stockings were expensive, and if you had to buy them, you would be more careful. Imagine that, son, from a father. Do you remember later when I was reading in the library how you came in timidly with a sort of hurt look in your eyes? When I glanced up over my paper, impatient at the interruption, you hesitated at the door. "What is it you want?" I snapped. You said nothing, but ran across in one plunge and threw your arms around my neck and kissed me. I could go on, but oh my goodness, it's gonna make me cry. So one of the parts that really got me was that no matter like how much he criticized his son still was like showing him love. That's the part that got me. Um, and then it says, "Well, son, it was shortly afterwards that my paper slipped from my hands, and a terrible, sickening fear came over me. What has had, what has habit been doing to me? The habit of finding fault, of reprimanding. This was my reward to you for being a boy. It was not that I did not love you. It was that I expected too much of youth. I was measuring you by the yardstick of my own years." I think that's like really what it is. As parents, um, oftentimes we do what we was taught, right? Um, I remember it was times where as though with my oldest son, and after I had my spiritual awakening and stuff like that, I felt so bad, like the way I would speak to him. And I remember one day, woof, 1 second. Whew. I remember one day I had caught him in a bathroom and I apologized to him for the way I treated him when he was a kid, like just speaking to him a certain type of way. As a parent, right? A lot of times we tend to do what was done to us, and we have all heard the saying, "Hurt people hurt people." And as I do the work on myself, right? Because I tell you guys all the time, like I'm not perfect. I'm doing the work on myself. But as a parent, you know, one of the main reasons for me getting the books and applying what the books and stuff say is so I could be a better version of myself. Therefore, if I'm a better version of myself, then I could be a good version towards my children. And I still have work to do, okay? Just the other day, my oldest daughter, she was just not listening. And I said this before, like, I can't, like when I talk to my children a lot, um, Go to bed, Amani. All right, go to bed. Go to bed. Um, when I speak to my children a lot, um, at times, like I allow certain things to get them to do certain things, right? And that part, I really have to take accountability because it's really about having boundaries. Because I think sometimes as parents, we like maybe in the beginning you won't say too much to your children, but then afterwards, like, you'll get frustrated and, maybe you'll start yelling and stuff like that because it's like you frustrated and then they not listening, right? So one of the things I am really, really, I know I need to work on more so is boundaries, especially with my children, right? Because, and I told you guys this before, but I think, you know, in every aspect of every relationship, it ought to be boundaries. And if we don't have the boundaries with ourselves, like we can't really implement them with, people outside of us. And I know I said, I have boundaries and I do, but some of the things I see, like when it comes to my children, I've let certain things slide. Whereas though if I would have nipped it in the bud right then and there, then things wouldn't go left so much, right? And so that's one of the things that I am aware of, and I'm working on myself with that one. So yeah, so if you guys don't have this book, I highly recommend this. Like I said, I'm only on page 15, and this book had me crying. Okay, it is a really, really good read. I love reading. Like I never thought I'd be saying it, but I love reading because the books I get especially, they all pretty much personal development books. They get you to look at yourself and see your shortcomings and how you can change, from the person that maybe you have been attached to, right? That role that you've been playing. And so one of the things I do know is if I'm doing the work on me, everybody else, they'll benefit from it. Not only me, but they will too. So with that being said, I catch you guys on the next one. Rock out, believe in yourselves. If you don't have this book, I highly recommend it because already, honey, I'm telling you, I'm only on page 15 in the book. It did something to me, okay? So I'll catch you guys later. Peace.